The story begins with a voiceover explaining that in ancient times, the number of demons increased drastically, making life on Earth unbearable for humans. To counter this threat, heaven sent the seed of chaos to Earth. With its immense power, the number of demons significantly decreased. Once the danger was averted, the seed of chaos became frozen within the snow mountain, awaiting the next worthy host who could wield its power. The scene then shifts to the present, where the main character Wang Hao is being bullied by members of the Su family, led by the arrogant and ruthless Su Huang. Su Huang taunts Wang Hao, claiming he is unworthy of being engaged to Su Muyu, a princess of the royal family's sixth queen. He orders Wang Hao to break off the engagement if he wants to save his life, making it clear that he has the power to destroy him. Despite being bloodied and beaten, Wang Hao wipes his face and refuses to back down. He states that the engagement was arranged by their families, and that he has no interest in wealth or power. However, he despises those who look down on him and torment him. He then challenges Su Huang, saying that if he truly wants the engagement annulled, he should send Su Muyu to ask for it herself and even apologize for Su Huang's actions. Enraged, Su Huang draws his sword and unleashes his power, charging at Wang Hao in fury. As Wang Hao steps back, his foot slips on a loose stone, making it evident that they are standing at a dangerous height. However, instead of panicking, Wang Hao smirks, an expression that leaves Su Huang momentarily confused. Su Huang demands to know what Wang Hao is planning. Wang Hao replies that Su Huang's power only exists because of the Su family's influence. Furious at the insult, Su Huang asks if Wang Hao has a death wish. Wang Hao boldly declares that he is about to die not by Su Huang's hands, but on his own terms. He vows to return stronger than ever and take revenge on each of them, one by one. Without hesitation, he leaps off the cliff. Shocked, Su Huang and his group watch in disbelief. They never expected Wang Hao to take such a drastic step. Seeing no reason to stay, Su Huang assumes Wang Hao is dead and leaves with his men. As Wang Hao plummets down the deep abyss, he wonders if there is an afterlife where he could wish for a life filled with power, one where he could stand against the strong without fear. He refuses to live a weak and oppressed life any longer. He seeks true justice. As these thoughts race through his mind, time seems to freeze. A golden light descends from the sky and strikes his body. In the next moment, Wang Hao finds himself teleported to another realm. There, he discovers that he has gained an ocean of knowledge, and before him lies the seed of chaos, radiating an overwhelmingly pure aura. As he touches the seed of chaos, his body begins absorbing its immense power. The scene then shifts to Wang Hao's home. Outside, an elderly man named Zhou Bo approaches Zhou Shan, who is practicing nearby, and asks, "Did you find the young master near the cliff last night after the rain? Is that why you're not feeling energetic this morning?" Zhou Shan, unfazed, replies, "I'm used to this kind of stuff." Then he quickly adds, "We should hurry and wake up the young master for the awakening ceremony. If his body's power doesn't awaken this time, he might be expelled from the royal family." Hearing this, Zhou Bo shrugs and says casually, "Why should we care whether the young master is kicked out or not? Our duty is simply to follow him, no matter where he goes." Just then, they sense a powerful energy radiating from the house. Zhou Shan immediately feels that the young master might be in danger and rushes inside. But Zhou Bo stops him, deep in thought. Where's this overwhelmingly strong, pure aura coming from? Meanwhile, we see Wang Hao, who is absorbing the power of the seed of chaos. In just one night, it has propelled him to level 1 of the heavenly realm. God has given me a second life by granting me this power, he thinks as he steps outside. Josem sees him and asks, "Are you okay?" Wang Hao nods. "Thanks for worrying about me." Zhou Bo then touches Wang Hao's hand, sensing his newfound power. His mind races. The spirit seed has risen from the dead and an innate physical breakthrough? Interesting, as expected from his son. He simply tells Wang Hao, "Well, it's good that you're okay. It's been unusually hot today. I think I'll go take a nap." As he walks away, Wang Hao wonders, did he figure something out? But before he can dwell on it, a girl suddenly runs up to him and jumps into his arms. It's Wang Jia, his childhood friend. Hugging him tightly, she exclaims, "I heard you fell off a cliff. Are you okay? I was so worried about you." Wang Hao, flustered by her closeness, turns red. After composing himself, he responds, I'm fine, but I haven't seen you in years. Are you here for the awakening ceremony? Jia grins. I was tired of training at home every day, so I decided to stay here for a while. Now that I'm in Pingchang City, we can see each other every day. To Wang Hao, she looked absolutely adorable in her excitement. Just then, a loud voice interrupts. Your 3-day grace period is over, and you're still here? A man sneers arrogantly. Low people will always be low. I can't even stand the stench of this place. Jia glares at him and snaps, How dare you speak to the young master of the Wang family like that? You're just a mere servant. Let me explain to you, viewers. Because Wang Hao had never awakened his spiritual power and was considered weak, people often looked down on him. When Jia defended Wang Hao, the young man mocked him even more. Ha! Look at you, hiding behind a girl's skirt instead of speaking for yourself. How pathetic. Hearing this, Jia's blood boiled, but before she could retaliate, Wang Hao stepped forward. The man smirked. Oh, you want to fight me? You're nothing but a weakling. You couldn't even defeat a dog. Ignoring the insult, Wang Hao turned to Zhou Shan and ordered, Close the gates! The man's companions rushed at Zhou Shan, but he easily threw them to the ground. Enraged, the arrogant man demanded, What do you think you're doing, closing the gates? Wang Hao smirked, just making sure some stray dogs learned their lesson. Furious, the man lunged at Wang Hao, but Wang Hao effortlessly blocked his attacks. No matter how many strikes he threw, Wang Hao countered them with ease. Then, in a flash, Wang Hao grabbed his arm, kicked his knees, and broke his hand. What happened next was a flurry of brutal slaps, one after another, as if Wang Hao was unleashing years of humiliation all at once. Zhubo watched in approval. Good. The boy has finally learned to stand up for himself. Beaten and humiliated, the man gasped, I won't let you get away with this. Wang Hao smirked and turned to Zhou Shan. Open the gates. These dogs have learned their lesson. Zhou Shan smirked and tossed the man's companions out the gate, which flung open. Wang Hao then kicked the arrogant man straight out. As he hit the ground outside, Wang Hao muttered, Now that the dogs are dealt with, time to face their master. The man went to the Wang family elders, complaining that Wang Hao had beaten him up for no reason. Hearing this, the Grand Elder responded, Wang Hao is a well-mannered young man. He wouldn't do something like this without a valid reason. However, he still asked the master to investigate the matter. Seeing the Grand Elder's indifferent response, the man said, Grand Elder, I know you've always favored Wang Hao's father, but you must put that aside and seek justice. Just then, Wang Hao arrived and said, Who's this dog barking so early in the morning? His words shocked everyone, making them wonder why he was suddenly acting so strangely. The master turned to Wang Hao and asked, What is going on? Wang Hao casually replied, Yeah, I beat him up, so what? Angrily, the man turned to the master and said, See? Look at how disrespectful he is. Wang Hao then explained, According to the family rules, anyone who fails to develop a spiritual seed by the age of 16 is expelled from the family. Mocking him, the man sneered, That rule applies to losers like you. But, Wang Hao continued, Since I haven't attended the awakening ceremony yet, I still have time to prove myself. Yet Wang Fu broke the rules by kicking me out before the ceremony. So I taught him a lesson. Frustrated, Wang Fu shouted, Everyone knows that Wang Hao doesn't have a spiritual seed. That means he would have failed the ceremony anyway. Expelling him in advance was the right decision. Unfazed, Wang Hao declared, Fine. If you don't believe me, then see for yourselves whether I've awakened my spiritual seed or not. Wang Fu smirked. If you pass today's ceremony, I'll become a mind slave in Dongshan. All right, deal, Wang Hao said confidently as he stepped forward and placed his hand on the chilling stone. The moment he touched it, the seed of chaos within him activated. Powerful energy waves erupted from the killing stone, shaking the entire area with their overwhelming force. Seeing the overwhelming energy waves from the killing stone, people began to wonder, is the stone broken? Meanwhile, Wang Fu was so terrified by Wang Hao's power that he collapsed to the ground. At that moment, Wang Hao realized that showing too much power wasn't a good idea. He needed to keep a low profile. So, he quickly controlled his energy and intentionally performed at a lower level in the test. As a result, he passed with a low-grade ranking, avoiding too much attention. Despite Wang Hao passing the test, Wang Fu was completely shaken. He muttered in disbelief, There's no way you actually have a spirit seed. Wang Hao smirked. Are you stupid or what? You should have figured it out the moment I easily defeated you in our fight." Just then, another young man stepped forward, Wang Qi. He looked at Wang Hao and said, "So what if this butler made a small mistake? There was no need for you to take it so seriously. You're acting arrogant and you should apologize for your behavior." Hearing this, Wang Hao chuckled. "Oh, I remember you. You're the same guy I locked in a dog cage as a kid for bullying others. Still holding on to that grudge?" He smirked and added, "Wait, don't tell me you're working with him?" Wang Qi scoffed. "What nonsense. Sounds like you're looking for a fight. Fine, if I win, you'll have to apologize to Wang Fu." Wang Hao smirked. "And if you lose, will you go with him?" Wang Qi smirked back. "Ha! As if I'd lose to trash like you." Seeing Wang Qi's anger, the Grand Elder warned Wang Hao, "Wang Qi is at Divine Realm Level 3. You should think carefully before accepting this challenge." But Wang Hao simply shrugged and said, "I never back down from something I believe in." Meanwhile, the other students whispered among themselves, "Has Wang Hao lost his mind? He actually accepted Wang Qi's challenge. He's doomed." Wang Qi smirked at Wang Hao and said, "You still have time. If you kneel and beg for your life, I might let you live." Wang Hao chuckled. "Let's see if you're all talk or if you can actually back it up." With that, Wang Qi unleashed his signature move Thunderstorm Fist, aiming straight for Wang Hao. But to everyone's shock, Wang Hao dodged it effortlessly. Furious, Wang Qi launched a flurry of Thunderstorm Fist attacks, one after another. But then, in an instant, Wang Hao grabbed Wang Qi's wrist, smirked, and said, "Now it's my turn." With a sudden burst of power, Wang Hao slammed Wang Qi into the ground, leaving the crowd in stunned silence. Before Wang Qi could recover, Wang Hao unleashed a barrage of punches and kicks, completely overwhelming him. Breathing heavily, Wang Hao looked down at his defeated opponent and scoffed, "You're so weak." Turning to the head of the family, he asked, "What should we do with them now?" The head of the family gave a cold glance at the two fallen fighters and ordered the guards, "Take them away." As the guards dragged Wang Qi and Wang Fu away, Wang Qi glared at Wang Fu and spat, "This is all your fault. If it weren't for you, I wouldn't be in this mess." While being taken to the coal mines for forced labor, Wang Fu desperately pleaded with the head of the family, "I did exactly what you asked. Please save me, you promised." The head of the family scoffed. "What nonsense are you babbling about? Guards, get him out of my sight." Realizing he had been betrayed, Wang Fu screamed in rage, "Wang Tianyang, you said you'd protect me, but you've set me up. I won't let this go." Meanwhile, the awakening ceremony finally began. Wang Hao had already completed his test earlier, so now it was the other students' turn. Among them was Wang Jia, who stepped forward to take her test. The moment she activated her powers, an overwhelming surge of energy filled the room, leaving everyone in awe. When the results were announced, it was revealed that she had passed, with a top-grade ranking. The Grand Elder, clearly impressed, stepped forward and said, "From today onward, you may use my resources to cultivate, and from now on, you will be my personal disciple." Beaming with excitement, Wang Jia happily bounced over to Wang Hao, childishly grinning as she thanked the Grand Elder. Wang Hao watched her for a moment before smirking. High-class talent is rare indeed. Seeing Wang Jia's incredible power, someone remarked, "Looks like our family has given birth to a little phoenix." The moment she heard that, Wang Jia's expression darkened. Annoyed, she snapped, "Don't call me that. Every time I hear that name, I'm reminded of your fiancé, Su Muyu." Wang Hao raised an eyebrow. That much anger over an unrelated woman? Wang Jia scoffed. Unrelated? She's your fiancé, isn't she? That woman's heart is filled with nothing but poison. The less I think about her, the better. At that moment, the head of the family, Wang Tianyang, stepped forward and addressed everyone. The ceremony is now over. I hope you all continue to train hard and bring even more honor to the Wang family. With that, he turned to leave, but Wang Hao suddenly called out, "Wait!" Everyone turned to look as Wang Hao stepped forward. "I apologize for stopping you, but when my father passed away, he left behind 3 artifacts for me. May I have them back?" The room fell silent. Wang Tianyang's face suddenly changed, his expression unreadable. Hearing this, head of the family Wang Tianyang said, "Those 3 artifacts are incredibly valuable. You're still too weak, and many greedy people are after them. If they find out you have them, it could put you in serious danger." But Wang Hao stood firm. "I can handle my own problems. Just give me the artifacts." Wang Tianyang let out a deep sigh before replying, Fine, I'll give them to you, but on one condition. 1 month from now, the greatest academy of Chu State will begin its enrollment. If you manage to get admitted and start your training there, I will return all 3 treasures to you. Wang Hao smirked. Then it's a deal. Scene change. Later that day, Wang Hao and Wang Jia were walking back home. Wang Jia frowned. You should have just canceled the engagement. Was it really worth jumping off a cliff? Wang Hao shrugged. If that situation happens again, I will definitely. Before he could finish, Jia shoved something into his mouth. Definitely what? Would you jump off a cliff again? She snapped. Wang Hao coughed, making a face. Ew! What the hell did you just feed me? It's so sour. Jia smirked. It's a pill. Grand Elder gave it to me and told me to make sure you take it. Oh, and he also warned you to be careful around head of the family, Wang Tianyang. Wang Hao's expression darkened. Why? Jia explained. His son, Wang Ku, is a top-grade talent. He's currently studying at Tianqi Academy. The family head has always wanted to give those 3 treasures to him instead of you. The only reason he hasn't done it yet is because Grand Elder has been stopping him. Wang Hao clenched his fists. So, that's why the family head keeps trying to create obstacles for me. He's making me enter such a difficult academy just to avoid handing over the treasures. Jia sighed. Getting into the academy is already hard enough. But on top of that, you need to reach the Qi Gathering Realm first. Right now, you're only at Tier 1 of the Divine Realm. It was clear that the head of the family was deliberately making things difficult for Wang Hao. Hearing this, Wang Hao smirked. I still have a whole month. Reaching the Qi Gathering Realm? That's nothing for me. Wang Jia chuckled. Wang Hao raised an eyebrow. You don't believe me? Jia smiled. Of course, I believe in you. As they continued talking, they unconsciously moved closer, their hands touching. But just as Wang Hao noticed, Jia quickly pulled away, using training as an excuse before walking off. After she left, Wang Hao glanced at his hand and smiled. When he turned around, he saw Zhou Shan standing there, watching the whole thing with an amused expression. Wang Hao narrowed his eyes. Why are you smiling? Zhou Shan shrugged but said nothing. Ignoring him, Wang Hao continued. I just took some medicine, so I'm about to make a breakthrough. I'm going into cultivation mode, so make sure no one disturbs me. We then see Wang Hao meditating in his room, completely focused on his cultivation. After continuous effort, he finally opened his eyes. The seed of chaos is absorbing my spiritual power at an insane rate. Because of this, I've jumped straight to level 4 Divine Realm. He clenched his fist, feeling the surge of energy. His spiritual senses had increased tenfold compared to ordinary people. He could now clearly see tiny insects crawling in the distance, and even hear birds chirping far outside his house. All my senses have become incredibly powerful, and I haven't even reached the limit of the seed of chaos yet. If I keep training, no one in this world will be able to match me. Scene shift, Zhoubo's shock. Meanwhile, Zhoubo suddenly woke up, startled by Wang Hao's powerful aura waves. He broke through 3 levels in a single night? Damn, that's insane. Scene shift, head of the family's concern. At the Wang family's estate, a servant reported to the head of the family, Sir, we still haven't found a way to break the seal on those 3 treasures. But the head of the family simply waved him off. And the seal on the treasures isn't the real problem right now. The real problem is Wang Hao. We need to deal with him first. After this, the family had ordered his servant, Go tell Su Huang that Wang Hao is not dead yet. Once the servant left, the family head gave a creepy smile and whispered to himself, Wang Hao, I'm eagerly waiting to see your dead body. The scene then shifts to the market, where Zhou Shan says to Wang Hao, Young master, we don't even have any money for shopping. So why are we even here? Just then, Su Huang shows up, and Wang Hao thinks to himself, I knew we would meet, but I didn't expect it to happen so soon. Su Huang looks at Wang Hao and says, You didn't die after falling from such a height, and on top of that, your spirit seed has awakened. You really are lucky. Wang Hao responds, How did the news of me being alive reach you so quickly? It seems like the people around me must have told you. Su Huang, getting angry, retorts, Stop talking nonsense. I don't have time for your stupid chatter. Just hand over my sister's marriage certificate. Wang Hao smirks and says, After falling off the cliff, I realized that the Wang family doesn't want a scheming woman. But I'm a good person, so I reluctantly accepted her as my secondary wife. This sends Su Huang into a rage. He orders his subordinate, cut out his tongue and feed it to the dogs. As one of Su Huang's men charges at Wang Hao, Zhou Shan steps in and throws the guy aside effortlessly. Then, Su Huang's second man powers up for a fast, brutal attack. Wang Hao counters with a kick so powerful that the man is sent flying through the air and crashes far away, making everyone around him laugh. Seeing this, Su Huang sneers, "You can just hide behind others and laugh, but you can't do anything yourself." Wang Hao responds, "You want me to fight alone, but you don't even have the ability to face me on your own." Su Huang growls, "So that's how it is. Fine. First I'll kill this idiot, and then I'll deal with you." Su Huang sneers at Wang Hao, his eyes filled with rage. "I'm gonna beat you so badly, you'll regret not dying that day." The scene zooms out, revealing two mysterious men watching the fight from a distance. One of them says, "Su Huang is really impressive. He reached the 9th level of the Divine Realm at such a young age. Young Master, we should recruit him." But the young master shakes his head and replies, "That won't be necessary. My attention is not on Su Huang. It's on Wang Hao." The battle escalates. The focus shifts back to the fight where Su Huang launches a fierce attack on Zhou Shan. Zhou Shan withstands the first hit, but he struggles to block the second one. Wang Hao quickly realizes that Zhou Shan won't last long against Su Huang's attacks. He shouts to Zhou Shan, "Go for his legs!" Zhou Shan follows the advice, striking Su Huang's leg and sending him flying backward. Taking advantage of this, Wang Hao steps forward and invites Su Huang to fight him directly. Su Huang wastes no time and charges at Wang Hao, ready to land a devastating blow. Both of them throw powerful punches that collide mid-air. Just as Su Huang recovers, Wang Hao swings his other fist, landing a brutal punch that knocks Su Huang back, slamming him into the ground. Wang Hao walks up to him and steps on his arm, pressing down hard. Gritting his teeth, Su Huang growls, "Even if you cut off one of my arms, I'll still kill you with the other one." Wang Hao smirks and replies, "Oh, then I guess one arm is enough for you. Let me fix that for you." With a sickening crack, Wang Hao brutally breaks Su Huang's arm. The crowd gasps in shock, some looking terrified. Panicked by what they just witnessed, they rush off to inform the Su family. A dark warning. As Su Huang writhes in pain, Wang Hao leans in and says coldly, "This is just the beginning. You and your family have humiliated me for too long. Now I'll make sure you pay for everything." With that, Wang Hao and Zhou Shan leave the battlefield. From a distance, the mysterious man who had been watching them smirks and murmurs to himself, "Looks like I'll have to meet Wang Hao in person." Wang Hao and Zhou Shan strolled through Wandan Pavilion, browsing the rare cultivation items on display. Wang Hao examined them closely and remarked, "These things are incredibly useful for cultivation." However, when they checked the price tags, Zhou Shan sighed and said, "Unfortunately, we can't afford any of these." Reluctantly, Wang Hao put the items back, and the two turned to leave. Just then, a familiar voice called out from behind them, "Take whatever you like." Wang Hao and Zhou Shan turned around, surprised. The voice belonged to the same mysterious man who had been watching their fight earlier. With a confident smirk, he stepped forward and introduced himself. "My father's surname is Tai, and my family is incredibly wealthy." As Wang Hao looked at him, his eyes widened in shock. The man was covered in shiny jewelry and extravagant robes, reflecting light from every angle. The man chuckled and continued, "My name is Tai Yuqian. Yuqian literally means rich in Chinese, and I just so happen to own this Wandan Pavilion." Wang Hao raised an eyebrow. "Who would name themselves something so obvious? Your name literally means rich." He then introduced himself, and Tai Yuqian, clearly amused, responded, "You're quite bold. In Pingchang City, no one would dare mess with the Su family's young master, but you went head first into that fight." Wang Hao smirked at the praise, but simply nodded. As he and Zhou Shan turned to leave, Tai Yuqian stopped them. "Where are you rushing off to? I have something to discuss with you. But first, tell me, breaking through to the Qi gathering realm in just 1 month isn't easy, is it?"